what could have happened better? I think really would have been the communication around the difficulty we were having with getting the bus service going. The bus service. Because, yeah, there was a real frustration there around getting the bars open, and the festival team that were working on this, they really worked on it. But like, somebody should have communicated earlier that this is what's going on, and this is approximately when we think that this thing is going to be able to.
So basically, long and short of it is, don't play with Kenyans and their alcohol.
No.
At an event?
We
gotta have the bottle.
Anywhere.
That's essentially what it comes down to.
What it comes down to is don't mess with Kenyans and their alcohol. Sometimes we're so quick to rubbish a thing on a one-off thing.
Yeah.
And I wondered, because like with football, there's a lot of loyalty, right? You stay with your team, right? And then I remembered the Beckham documentary, and he talked about like he had carried the team and he had given for years and years and years. And then he misses the goal at the World Cup. And he's walking down the street and people literally spit on him.
Yeah.
The mics are blood clot open. Check.
Select accent for the podcast.
Calvin always late.
All right, what's up? This is the mics are open. My name's G-Money.
And Young.
Ashley.
Big C.
And our guest this weekend.
Yes, sir.
DQ.
Whoa.
Hello.
Hi.
You've been here before, haven't you?
I haven't been.
You've not been?
No, she's never been.
First time.
For real.
Wow.
You've been to the studio though.
I've been to the studio, but I've never been to the pod.
Wow, welcome onto the pod. It's been years in the making.
Yes.
I mean, you were always a regular on the radio with us.
Yeah.
So now it's like, it feels like we're in our own space doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Before we start, can I just say one thing too? Where's my camera here? People, there's nothing urgent till 2026. Thank you. I just want everyone to know I'm starting with that.
Can I give you my landlord's number?
Hey, tell him.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, don't say that.
There's
Where's my
nothing.
camera?
I'll tell you, Jimani said so, to
Agencies.
talk to him.
There's a lot of urgent things.
Oh, now you want to take it back.
Let me take it back. Yeah. That particular company who promised me next week Monday, that's urgent.
Other than that, the kitchen can burn.
The rest of that, the kitchen can
Listen,
burn.
the only people who should have their laptop opens are
Who?
DJs.
Period.
Hey.
Okay.
What kind of DJs?
No,
No,
all right.
when I
Right,
say agencies,
right.
I'm not referring to any particular
Oh,
agency.
actually,
All
yeah,
agencies. Why? Because, most of the creatives don't have bonuses over Christmas. So they're depending on those payments. So that's what I mean.
Okay.
So you say that nothing urgent.
Nothing is-
Tafadhali. Take that back.
Yo, I'm deep in the shoe game on the floor, man. Guys,
Right?
I like
Go off with all
the
the
low
well.
dunks, the high tops.
Those are very-
Okay.
No,
okay.
but I mean, I'm sure that Muthoni disagrees because there's something urgent on Sunday.
It's what I'm saying. I was just waiting. Where do I jump in? I personally, my laptop is fully open. In fact, all 10 of them, all tabs open, everything. Bro.
10 laptops, 10 tabs,
ETC.
etc.
Working is working. Blankets and wine is on Sunday. There's nothing else but working going on right now.
That is very urgent to me personally.
By the way, I think we should just start with blankets and wine. Let's change it around. Now, you say that your laptops are open. You say that
100%.
everything is excited. Like, you've done this so many times. You can't do this with your eyes closed.
Never.
By now.
We were having that discussion actually like this week, and I'm like, bro, honestly, after 17 years,
17.
like
Never gets old.
hundreds of editions, nothing. There are no two editions that are the same. There has never been a time when I'm like, oh yeah, it's just coasting. Like, we just know what we're doing. Never. Like nothing. I try to think like we really did like a little time capsule for like, when was the last time we're just like,
Hold
Cruising.
on. So 17 years, 2008, right?
yeah.
Where was the first blankets?
Tiana Gardens
Where is that?
in Ridgeways. In
Oh,
wait.
my friend's mom's backyard.
Really?
Oh, how many people came in for that?
Yeah, what was the
We
turnout
were
like?
120. The first one were 120.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Wow.
For first time?
All
Yeah.
your friends, you're like all your friends
Invite
pull
your
up, and then
friends.
your friends come with all their friends.
And what was like their honest feedback like?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you just bring your blanket, your wine, you're boozing in the sun on
Yeah.
a Sunday,
Yeah.
you're looking nice, and then there's some music you're discovering.
Nice.
After that is when you are just like, you know what, light bulb. Let's move.
Yeah, I think the light bulb had come by the time I was doing it. I really had a lot of conviction that the city needed it. I think the light bulb came after the second one. It's like we did on Euro 1, then December on Euro 2, and we're like, okay.
So what was
this
the
is
second
our
one?
thing. So the first one was November.
And then the second one, same venue?
Same venue. We stayed at the same venue for a year.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Generally, when we go to a venue, we stay.
So was it, at that point, were you charging or was it?
Yeah, we're charging 1,000 bob.
Oh, wow. And people came with their blankets and
Yeah, they came with their blankets,
It's a
their
vibe.
wine, their their picnics, and it was quite cool. It was quite like, oh, this is new to the city. This is a new experience.
Yeah.
So after the first year, when did you go to next?
After Tayana, we went to Hillcrest.
I don't know why I'm thinking about
Hillcrest. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're thinking about what?
Yes, that's the one.
Mamba Village.
I
Did
don't
you ever
know.
go to Mamba Village?
Yeah, then
That's what
after
I'm thinking,
Hillcrest,
yeah.
after
After.
Hillcrest, then you went
really?
to Mamba.
My first one was actually at Hillcrest,
Yeah.
then and they're so close together.
Yeah.
So you get confused that,
Yeah, we're at
Mamba or
yeah.
Hillcrest.
We're at Hillcrest, I
Yeah.
think, like for 2 years. Then we moved to Mamba. Then we had Mamba for a bunch of years. Then Mamba into the Carnival years.
And then
I think
Then
I caught up.
Carnival,
You know,
then going Riscos years, the waterfront.
how many blankets have you been to?
One.
How many have you been to?
What?
I
Yeah,
think
imagine.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Andy?
Kuna yenye ulifanya Uhuru Gardens.
Yes, like one. We've only ever done one at Uhuru
The
Gardens.
first time you brought Shakaina,
Yes.
Yes.
I think that was my first one to attend. I was in campus.
Like,
Yeah.
You know,
Shout out for reminding me.
Man, I was watching so emotionally from a distance when Shakaina was performing.
Can I confess?
Lord.
I've only been to 3 blankets and wines.
That's also decent.
Yeah, and I think I went to one at Mamba Village. I remember Mamba Village. Then I remember this kind of one as well.
Yeah.
But I remember the coffee one.
Yes.
You remember coffee? Or
You've done a lot.
Yes, you got
no,
Riscos.
course.
yeah, you remember?
Yes.
Yeah. So the coffee one for me was funny
The
because
first Kenyan summer, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Coffee
because-
and Gold Link.
Yeah.
From the- Gold Link.
on
Never
that one,
forget that.
I wasn't on the bill. So Muthoni called me and she's like, you know, coffee's coming. Can you just do a little ting?
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, wow.
So nobody knew that I was. Nobody knew that.
Yeah, it was a
nobody
surprise.
knew.
Oh,
Yeah,
that I was
yeah,
playing.
it was a surprise.
I think for why to inform why we've
Hey,
why
gee.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Shout out.
why I think for me I've never been to as many blankets was because Monday morning was always radio.
That's true. 6 in the morning.
Because of Sunday.
Oh, Calvin,
No,
as radio guys, we've gone from the club to the studio so many times, bro. What are these
No,
excuses?
but blankets is that turn.
Monday.
Yeah.
Hey.
Blankets is a ton.
Yeah. And
Nice.
also, I think last year, I really wanted to come to the December one, the proper one, right? But that day I had the flu and I was at the airport. I was going to Mombasa for family holiday.
Jeez.
And that was when Yashinsky was performing.
Yeah.
That was really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I was trying to compare like the dates today. It was like 20th.
Pretty much the same,
so
yeah.
it's almost the
it's
same.
almost always the same day.
Yeah.
It's almost always
Don't
the
you
same.
don't you ever get bored?
Well,
No, like
hello, therapist.
no. And when I say
Lot of
bored,
bag.
What a question.
when I say bored, you know, like I say it in the context of you're not truly gonna get bored because it's something that you
Love.
Yeah.
It's a culture shifting moment, but at some point, doesn't it just be like, man, this thing here has given me so much stress. Like it's been good. Because I think about, but I've never really done like a event for as long as you have. But I remember back in the day when we used to do things like Sepetuka, or we used to do Uptown Thursday. It just got to the point for me where I'm like, I just don't want to do this no more. I'm very much like that. I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah.
And I'm done. How do you maintain like?
That's a really good question. I think you fall out and in love.
With
Kind of just a relationship. It's I don't know. It's my firstborn. So
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the other thing that's happened is as we've evolved, then I'm able to play different roles in the
Right.
organization. So some of the roles have shifted. But in this year where there was like a lot of growth, I found myself back in some of the
In the
roles. I
pit.
was like, I thought
Good.
I had overcome this part of my role. And now you're back there. But then also just remembering, I guess that's also what 17 years of producing does, is you remember when it's been really, really intense and not so great, and then when it's really good and it's really
Right,
great.
right.
And then,
So it balances.
it balances it out. You're not always in a growth moment. You know? So you just kind of have that perspective, and the team's also grown, right? I also remember when it was like a one-woman show, then like
Yeah.
2 or 3 folks putting it together.
How many people do you have putting it together now?
Yeah, I mean, the internal core team were about 9 of us.
Okay.
And then we have line producers
And your casuals and your this and your that.
Bar operators and bar managers. So it's quite an operation.
Yeah.
Right.
I must admit, it's quite the operation.
Okay.
But yeah, there are some moments where it's like, this isn't as fun, you know. And
You had one of those moments this year.
Huh?
How was like the last one when you had some?
This whole year has been this year has been like ups and downs. You know, we were ready for June and then there was like crazy man. So it's like, okay, you're cancelling and
Yeah, the country came first.
yeah,
then, you know?
it costs money. Also people's lives and just,
Yeah, of course.
equipment.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't get security clearance, you don't get security clearance.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about
Yeah.
that, you know. So kind of living through that moment. And that was difficult. And then we had Bradford the first time in the UK. And that was like amazing,
Well, that was
exhilarating.
good, yeah? That was good, right?
Really, but you're producing in a new country. It's like a completely different landscape from
Was it
Yeah.
easy?
Yeah.
Was
So
it,
what you-
when you say a completely different landscape,
very regulated.
was it, oh yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
the
That
UK
much I do know.
is super, super regulated.
Yeah.
So you lose some flexibility, and then there's also kind of like cultural nuance
Yes.
that you don't exactly have because you're working with a local producer, and then it's also in the framework of the British Council and the UK Kenya season and the city of Bradford. So there's a lot of stakeholders. So you just don't have the kind of ease.
Yeah, you can't just,
You can't move anyhow.
yeah, 100%.
Which has its perks. I really must admit
Structure.
that it also has its limitations, but overall a really fantastic experience. Then we had September in Nairobi, which was huge and like so great in so many areas, and then so difficult in some
Was that
areas.
the biggest one? The last
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's the biggest one we've ever
Thames.
had. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that has its own like moments of like, okay, got it. And
Yeah.
then very short window, we're into December.
Right.
So this year we've really been like,
Back to back.
we need to think about our production cadence
Yeah.
and kind of like,
What I like about you as a person, and what I like about, like, you've never hidden when things haven't gone right. You know, so many people, when things don't go right, they hide. They like phone them, and I feel like every single time there's been any, I don't know that there's been many, but anytime there's been any reference to blankets and wine with any level of negativity, you've always stood up and said, we got this right and we got that wrong. And I really respect that about you, because most people don't own their shit. You know what I mean?
Speaking of owning shit, man, I just want to know, like, the morning after. Because after any event, bro, everyone is running to Twitter.
Yeah.
The following day. Like, what exactly happened? What exactly went down? So I want to know how you guys, you and your team, how do you handle that? Because Kenyans are not as graceful. You know, anything small. Matter of fact, they might look away from everything good that happened, and maybe something small that inconvenienced them is blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
And maybe if these are the loudest people online, then it amplifies it and it seems like, oh, damn. So this is the picture, you know. So how do you guys usually handle that social media thing the morning after?
the morning after.
Yeah.
First, fatigue.
Yeah.
Producing is really difficult work. It doesn't matter what you're producing, a birthday or whatever. Producing is a really difficult thing. So there's physical fatigue. And one of the things that we've picked over the years is to just don't react. Just don't react. You are tired and you are processing, and you're living in the things. And there's things like the gig is over for people who have gone home, but
for you,
like the artist team, you still have to get artists to the airport. Production is now just at the beginning of like set down. It's like
Closing up.
You're in closeout. So for you, the game doesn't stop until like a month after.
Yeah.
So the bottle top doesn't stop spinning. And so I think maybe
People don't know. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
People think that you finish an event,
Yeah.
you go home, count money, and go to bed.
yeah.
You know,
Closeout is long.
even with this thing with that we did recently, we did DJ AG over here.
Yeah.
It's only yesterday that I put an X. We were able to put an X on
Like
the
done.
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
This is like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Later, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And part of that is then, every team is kind of spinning in its own axis, and then you're looking at the whole thing. And so I think the first thing is just like, don't react. There's a comms team that's responsible for that work. So we don't all have to be there. Even during the campaign, the comms team is responsible for the campaign, the production team is responsible for production. Everybody's kind of playing their own role. And so even when you do get information, it's packaged thoughtfully to give to the producers, because the whole thing is extremely emotional and you're still working. I think the other thing that's discounted is the emotional toll of that.
You're a human being after all.
You're giving so much.
Yeah, you're giving self. And when it's culture, it's love, it's music, it's
passion.
You give a lot. So the comms team has to be really thoughtful in the way the information is passed to the wider team and who needs to know what at what point. Yeah. Right. So the short version is thoughtfully. The next thing is thoughtfully.
Yeah. I hate that, like, I shouldn't say I hate it but
Strong word.
I just wish that people actually knew what goes into an event.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I even have friends who sometimes they make some comments when an event takes place and they make some comments, and I just call them out. I'm like, yo, like,
it's painful.
but you are entitled to your opinion. But you don't know that, like, this is a culmination of 6 months it's like a wedding. It's like 6 months planning for one night. You know what I'm trying to say? And like, I don't know.
Interesting example though.
It's like a wedding.
Yeah.
It is. It's like that. You only get one chance. You have an amazing lineup this Sunday.
Yeah.
You have one chance to get it right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the work is having a lot of empathy, and it's I know it sounds crazy, and this is why I meant it has to be handled thoughtfully. When the people are looking at the socials, they're seeking the insight. They're seeking the insight. So for whatever is considered to be great, they're seeking the insight on what's that. And whatever is being presented as difficult, as negative, they're also seeking the insight. And in some instances, they're also seeking the truth, right? Because then there's things that are communicated and it's like, did that actually happen? So again, the real need not to have a knee-jerk reaction, and just to kind of understand the landscape of kind of what is being presented, and then to have a lot of empathy with that user who came for the moment. Because I think the thing about music is it's a moment. It's a moment. You're chasing a moment with this artist that you love and this connection and this friend that you are maybe not going to see for I don't know how else. So there's a lot of emotion that has gone in for the audience.
Yeah, for the audience,
And there's a lot of emotion that has gone in for the producer. So there's just got to be a lot of empathy around the thing that you are seeing, so that you can be like, okay, so what am I seeing? What am I seeing? And to allow yourself to find the insight without falling into the trigger, and that's difficult.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, in your opinion, like, what was amazing about the last edition and what could have been a bit better? Because I think it's important to highlight what was amazing as well.
Always,
remember, I watched from home, so I just watched people's phones and it looked amazing to me. I don't know what y'all went through, but it was good for me in my house on IG. Like, what do you think was amazing? And I want to highlight the amazing stuff. And I also hands up, what do you think could have been better?
Plus, I think I'm going to start on the producer side. Being able to do it. That's an insane thing, to be able to find the financing, to be able to find the artists, to be able to understand the technical needs, to be able to meet the technical needs, to be able to run 2 stages, to just to build a traffic operation, a security operation, making it work. Because I think one of the things that we really experience is that we are always building an environment. We are building a venue environment in a completely unstable environment. You have to get everything in. You have to get everything in. You have to build tech bar networks. You have to build everything. You have to build toilets.
A whole ecosystem.
Bro, you build a city.
You build a city.
You build a city, and I don't know what else to say except you build a city.
Yeah, you do. You build a venue for...
There's so many moving parts.
And if you've
100%.
ever planned anything, you build a city from scratch with a limited...
I want you to remember that point because I want to come back to that point. But go on,
with a limited amount of time and with a limited amount of resources, and you make it work. And to me, I think that was a humongous triumph.
Right.
Just being able to get that done end to end, and that all the artists performed end to end. That for me was a big triumph. I think another thing that really happened was love. Like people allowed themselves to have a good time. People allowed themselves. At the end of the night, when I was kind of like, walking through the festival, I always walk through the festival.
You go incognito?
No,
just walk.
I just kind of walk at the end. I really, I don't know, energy doesn't lie. And I don't know if I sound like a witch, how it feels.
You need to feel the vibe.
How it feels. And I felt it. And I felt the magic. And people just kind of coming up to me and being like, thank you for making this space. Thank you for holding space for love.
That's fire.
That was so good. So there was something that was extremely grounding, and also kind of like when then you live through the days after, remembering that you are not crazy. That was real. That was real. That happened. They felt it. They saw your love. They felt your energy. They appreciated, and they were present in the moment. That was really good. I think another thing that was phenomenal is people discovered Ondra.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
People discovered Ondra, the Ondra stage, because that's something that we've been building at the festival. It's something we've been really intentional about. We really think there's something beautiful going on with house music, and has been for a long time. And we're just kind of at an acceleration point, and we're so thankful to be able to contribute to that conversation and to hold space for that. And in September, people discovered Ondra.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the idea behind the Ondra stage? And why are you so passionate about it?
Yeah.
So this is the third time Ondra.
No, Ondra's been running since December 2022.
Really?
This is what I mean. This is when we're like, yes, it's a triumph.
Okay.
And it really did inform some of the decisions that we've made in December. Just kind of put that idea front and center. So I think for us, Ondra really developed. First, we have this market, which is the blanket soko. And, we wanted to build something to keep the market going. And this began actually at that edition, the first Kenyan summer. We're like, hey, we have, because of the layout, for the first time, kind of the vendors were separated from the music. And we're like, okay, so what's going to happen? We need to keep a vibe going. So then we're like, okay, let's
put a
stage
there.
DJs and see what's going to happen. And then it was such a vibe. And we're like, okay, so we want to keep that going. And then when 2022 came and we came back, we're like, let's just work with curators and let's kind of just build a sound around that. But by that time, I'd really kind of discovered the Surajes and the Muras and just kind of all this really phenomenal UG Kenyan producers who are taking house music. And I was like, this is really interesting. I think there's something. I spent some time there, and I was like, oh yes, so this is not a phase. This is where this is a thing. This is kind of in our sensibility here, and we're contributing, and we are like a top 3 house music market on the continent. I was like, okay, so
I mean, that's interesting, right? Sorry to catch you, right? Because I really want to get into like when you guys sit down and decide, and this is not actually more for us guys over here, because we've been around music, but I know a lot of people want to always know, like when you and the team sit and decide, so this is the artist that we should bring down. Like what informs that?
So some of it is that there's just got to be cultural proof that the thing exists, that there's a community that's tapped into, and that it is deserving of that shine moment. And by deserving, I really mean like the festival is built for discovery, right? So, and I'm going to weave this back into Ondra. So me having that moment and kind of finding all these Kenyan producers and then kind of talking to the other curators around, there is something going on in house music. I really thought about like the original crew, the owners of Blankets and Wine, the millennials and kind of the, I'd call them the young Gen Xers. Who grew up then on the Mikasas and the Little Deeps and even Mafikizolo's return. Kind of that there's a really strong connection for that audience with South African variations of house music. But as that age group has kind of like, depending on where they are now going to sort of hang out and eat or drink or socialize, that music isn't there anymore. And there's actually kind of like a disconnection. I kept thinking about like my brother-in-law who plays music. He like plays music in his car and he has like a flash disc or like a mix by a DJ. And I was like, how the heck will he ever find Nesmburu?
Yeah.
Right? So then I was like, okay. So for my brother-in-law, because he's at the festival, if there's a stage where he could go and listen to this music, and I'm like, oh, you see that house music you love? Now listen to the house music that Kenyan artists are making.
Yeah.
For him, it's going to be complete discovery. I was like, there's an audience in blankets for whom this is complete discovery, but they're not unfamiliar with the sound, and they actually listen to the music. I remember like during the pandemic when we were all discovering Scorpion Kings, right? And I was just like so impressed with, with my older sibs. I was like, damn, you guys are okay.
You're with it.
So I guess you're with it. And the kind of the recollection, of course they're with it. Like they're the ones who taught you the music that you listen to. So then building that and saying, this audience requires this space because there's something going on in Kenya. These Kenyan producers and DJs who are making and building this sound, they are currently doing a lot in the club circuit. So now we need to get them out of the house music club circuit and get them into spaces that are not necessarily house music spaces. The music is good and the music is worthwhile. I know that if you listen to this thing, you'll be like, okay, this thing is kind of vibes. It's vibes. And then down the rabbit hole you go, right? So that was, for us, a consideration. The other thing also was just kind of like, you want to always be able to build a new audience into a festival because there's always an audience that's exiting the festival. Life. I'm sure you guys know this, of course. Even like, it's just life, right? Like things go with phases. So when you want to build in an audience, for us, it's like, who is already building? What communities are already existing? And the live stage is very robust in being able to build in a younger audience. So how could we be robust with the second stage? And for us, it was very natural that we build a thing that could center house, but could also just make space for electronic music at large. So we are really curious about like just electronic music, like on the continent, like just stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys know like about Geli music from Tanzania.
Yes.
It's kind of wild, but it's like, okay, just put it in front of users and just see
what happens.
See how they react. You have.
I think those are really like good high points to pull from the event and from the events as they have been, because at the end of the day, it's like you said, there's the discovery audience. There's always beauty in someone walking someplace and seeing something or hearing something that they've never heard. Like even today, I'm just driving to the studio and Spotify throws up a song called Sukari by Juma Tutu or whatever, and I've never heard that song, but it's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
So there's something always to be said about discovery, and I think those are good highlights. And what could have been done better?
What could have happened better? I think really would have been the communication around the difficulty we were having with getting the bus service going. The bus service. There was a real frustration there around getting the bars open, and the festival team that were working on this, they really worked on it. But like, somebody should have communicated earlier that this is what's going on and this is approximately when we think that this thing is going to be able to take off. Because I think when users don't have information, it's very difficult to make decisions, and it just kind of feels like, what's going on? And then, by the time it's kind of open, are they all open? Is it only some bars that are open? I think that's a thing that we really took on board. It's like, hey, you really need to find ways to communicate with people in real time. I don't think people come with the expectation of perfection, but it does really help when you give them information. Now, even if they're not going to be pleased with the outcome, if they know what's going on, it just gives them a feeling that there's just a better grip on the situation. So I think that's something that should have definitely happened better.
So what?
And then the actual bus service.
So guys, so basically, long and short of it is, don't play with Kenyans and their alcohol.
No.
At an event?
We gotta have the vocal.
Anywhere.
That's essentially what it comes down to.
What it comes down to is don't mess with Kenyans and their
alcohol.
So let me
we came to have a party.
We did. So let me ask you this, right? So like I said, I've not been to Blankets recently, right? I know a lot of people who've been to Blankets. I have conversations with them. Would you say part of the problems you experienced, and maybe other event goers, but you don't have to speak, no other people who've planned events, is that because we don't have a perfect venue? If we had a venue.
That's now where I told you we're going to come back to it. I see what we did there. Venues. Let's talk about venues.
Because you know why I was going with that is, I went to the Kendrick Lamar show in Kigali.
Same.
You were there, right? So remember how Heineken had set up and you could only buy your booze at a certain period, and then go back, the bars are closed.
Yeah.
And everybody enjoys the show.
Yeah.
And boom, you guys go, so there's no sting at T4.
Yeah.
So
Come
would
back
that
whatever
help?
time.
Yeah, this is very close to my heart. We definitely need venues. We definitely need fit-for-purpose venues that are outfitted with the things that can make things work.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, when you think about bar operations, right, you have to ship in booze. You have to figure out how to distribute said booze to the different bars and to be able to restock the said bars. You have to be able to network each bar, right, with, each bar has to kind of operate as an independent system so that the inventory and the sales
Makes
system are talking to each other so that you can actually know how much booze you have in that bar so that you don't sell more or less, usually more than what you have, sort of in stock.
Yeah.
And if you don't use a tech system, now you're on manual, you are now in
Danger zone.
theft territory, right?
Yeah.
Which in itself is not so, it's not the worst thing that could happen, except the way these deals are made is you procure a certain amount of product, advance, and then you get a certain amount of product as consignment. Whatever you lose, you still pay, right? So you can run a whole operation and you've sold, but actually you didn't sell. The money's not with you. People, it just hemorrhaged. Or, you sold and the money that was hemorrhaged, you still have to pay. So you actually can end up being in the red.
Yep.
And so you actually have to build technology systems around that, right? And then you use what's in the market, and the things that are in the market have been built for stable environments, right? They've been built for a place that is, a POS system. You're in a room. You have stable internet. You have very limited variations. You have kind of like specific nights, specific stock quantities. So you don't really have folks who are solving for this thing in unstable environments like fields, the Uhuru Gardens, the Lorette Gardens,
the middle of nowhere.
right? And then you have to build your own internal tech system. And then, the network providers have to build stability for the rest of you who are all going to be converging in this place, right? So your systems don't talk to, your internal bus systems are not talking to the network owners' systems. So you have to have network for us to prompt you, when you're at the bar. So then you don't get the prompt, and now this person can't. You can't move we can't move the patches. Then you do it again, and then it's like, oh, maybe it went through, or maybe it didn't go through. Okay, now we have a backup. Now we are annoyed, right?
And now the person meanwhile gets two texts.
Yes.
Now it's spent double.
Now it's
what are we gonna
double,
do?
right? So now I can't buy more later in the night because I don't have this money, and you don't seem to have the money. So we can only reconcile this thing like 24, 48 hours later, right? So I'm pissed. Right? And then it's just like, and then kind of the answers you get are pretty pedestrian. People are just like, then you just give this thing to another guy who can do this job, who it's their job. And it's like, we've worked with them and actually they have the same problems that we have, right? So you just have to put your head down and solve the problem one time.
So, event goers really don't care about
at all. Nobody cares about how the sausage is made. They just want a sausage.
So like and of course, I do not understand the operation that you're running. This is a conversation we could have another time, right? But would it be easier if you went back to day one of blankets and wine, where everybody brings their own?
Absolutely not.
And wine.
Absolutely not.
Because I know guys have asked you that.
No, in fact, nobody's asked me that. But thank you for asking me that. That was cute. I appreciate that. Absolutely not. You have to build in the revenues to be able to pay for the things. For real, you have hundreds of toilets. When I'm talking about hundreds, I'm saying like 250 toilets, 270 toilets.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So the money has to come from somewhere.
60% of the audience yells.
No,
so we use toilets.
What I'm saying that is this, right? Say, for instance, okay, cool. So this happened. There was all of that, no communication between the sales points and all of that, right? So I want to come with my bottle of whiskey. I've bought my ticket, right? What if you now introduce a corkage fee?
I don't think there's a corkage fee that's going to make sense for us to be able to acquire the volume of trade that is needed. If you think about like, at least the way we price, our tickets are like 3,000 shillings to like 5,000 shillings. Like divide by 20, you're paying like 200 bob per artist if you really think about what you're paying for. It's a very low ticket price, and part of that is because we want to keep the thing accessible to the culture, right? But you could have a gig that's like 10,000 bob and above, and it's like for X number of people. And that's also a business model, right? Certain things to consider. So you want to keep it accessible. So you have to build in other revenue streams. So you have to think about food, you have to think about drinks, you have to think about merchandise, right? Like any other, this is Live Nation, this is whoever, venue owners. You know, this is also why I'm like, we need venues, but actually we need outdoor venues, right? We need some land, like Glastonbury. You just need some land where you can actually just build the thing to your specifications, because Blankets and Wine is an outdoor music festival, right? So if you think about like the BK Arena in Kigali, amazing for standalone concerts, it's not really going to satisfy your need as Blankets and Wine as a festival, but we could certainly do standalone concerts, right? And then the dynamics of that is completely different, because also the owner of the arena has to like maintain lighting and like toilets. Maintaining toilets is such a pain, like for all establishment owners, like making sure like door handles are not stolen and like, like tiles are replaced. So they're probably going to keep a chunk of the F&B, which means even as a person who's producing there, you have limited resources.
And that's food and beverage for those,
And that's true. And ask the internet, even when like, you know, the big stars do their arena shows, they do not own in entirety either ticketing or any of the drinks or any of the concessions, any of the merchandise. It's such an operation. And the owners of the building have to maintain overheads.
Facts.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's veer off a little bit, right? Because you're part of the creative economy.
Yeah.
I was in a conversation the other day that is very interesting, right? So we've got a brand new stadium that's been built.
Yeah.
Right? There's a plan for it to have 200 days of lights on.
Wow.
Is that something that you reckon, having done events and knowing other event organizers, the scale at which we're doing, is that attainable?
I mean, that's interesting. That's the first time I've had that statistic. And I don't know enough to...
200
nights.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Like I had that and I was like, that's ambitious.
That's a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
I mean, more power.
And I think it all depends on how they can subdivide it, how they've built it. Like,
so when I look at that, right, 200 nights, of course you got to include football, rugby, because it's a stadium that's built, football, rugby, and events, right? So, but I was thinking about it from the problem that I see everybody, and who keeps saying this a lot? What's our guy who does events and security? This guy, I remember. Who? Chris. He's always saying venues. Right. You get what I mean, right? So I was just looking at all of that, and it was one of the things I thought, having done events for that long, right? Would it be something that you could see?
Yeah, I think for us, for sure. I know in our operation, in our master plan, there's no kind of going around it, is we're going to have to solve ownership of venue definitively. So whether, you know, over a period of time, you enter into a PPP with the government, so that you can be able to stay at Lorette for years and kind of develop the property, because, you know...
It's a very good idea.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's a great location, right? You could develop it, but you can't. It's the government, right? Like, we want to make improvements to the space, but, you know, there's very limited things that you can do without, like, their fundamental, you know, buy-in. So we know that eventually we're going to have to solve this problem, like, definitively, right? But I'm also really big on the idea of we have to solve venues at multiple scales. Not everything needs to be on a stadium. And I really feel passionately around that. There's something deceiving about like everything should be at 20,000 or 17,000. Even we at the festival, we have no interest in always producing something that's at like
I can tell you, as someone who's done events, like personally speaking, I have zero interest in concerts and big events right now. I kind of feel that, like, one thing I really do like about Lagos, for example, is that in Lagos you can find a venue that can hold 50 people.
Yeah.
You can find a venue that can hold 100 people. You can find a venue that can hold 300 people. You can find a venue that can hold 50,000 people. You can find a venue that can hold 700 people. And the thing about it is and because, I mean, for those who have been to Lagos, it's such a hustle-bustle creative space. Every venue that has that space is occupied doing something. And I feel that also...
Absolutely.
And I feel that for, like, even for like Blankets and Wine and for other big events, Soulfest, whatever, it's like, you know, sometimes we want a cut down where it's just 200 people with a particular artist in a particular environment, enjoying music and discovering music like that. So I think at the end of the day, and I want to talk to brands as well, because I kind of feel that a lot of brands just give what I call headline lip service to the creative industry. The creative industry is hot right now, and don't worry, I'm not going to talk about your sponsors or your partners rather, because I hate the word sponsors, right? Because they should be partners.
It is a partnership,
and I truly believe that that brands have a very important role to play. First of all, I operate on the philosophy of if I'm doing an event, I can pay for it. First of all, so that if anything goes wrong, I know I can cover this. But at the same time, I really hate the idea of someone coming to, say, for example, Blankets and Wine 3 weeks out and saying, this looks like it's going to be big. By the way, how can I get involved? Here's X amount of money. When that money could have given you the dream artist you wanted
months ago,
6 months ago. You know what I'm trying to say? And also, when Muthoni or when Moriasi or when whoever's doing events, Changi, whoever comes to you and says, by the way, this event I'm doing is not for 50,000 people or 10,000 people. It's actually for 700 people. Please get behind the event as well. It's not just about numbers.
I agree.
It's about being part of the culture.
Agreed.
You know what I'm trying to say? And like even just to not vent, but even with this thing with AG, right? AG was here a couple of weeks ago. Do you know how many artists were able to just have a platform to perform? Do you know how many people have got called back from labels in the UK saying, we saw you on AG's stream? There are so many different ways in which we can be creative. And I just feel like I'm not blaming any brands, but I'm just sometimes it's about investing in the ecosystem and in the culture. And that's what I believe some of the brands outside of Kenya and the smaller, more boutique brands understand that investing in the culture of a space, especially music and discovery, pays you more dividends than trying to be the headline sponsor on just a concert because it's whether, you know what I mean?
On a big name show. I really want to just like reiterate that, because I think then that's something, and maybe it's just a framework of where we are. And maybe we really believe that bigger is always better. And I think bigger is better sometimes. And it's not always meant to be bigger. It can be better at bigger, and it can also be better at smaller. And it can be better at medium, right? And I think this is one of the things that we've really learned on our journey. Like what I was telling you, there are no two gigs that are ever the same. No two gigs have the same financial position. No two gigs have the same kind of like objective. The artists, the composition of artists produces a different outcome, you know. And we sit in the culture. I am a creator of culture as an artist, and then I'm a creator of culture as a builder of a platform. We ride for the culture, whether the brands are interested on we're not seasonal. I think this is kind of what I'm saying. We refuse to be seasonal because this work that we create it's our livelihood. It's our beingness, right? We are artists because we must make art. You know, we are culture curators and producers because the culture deserves to be put on. People deserve to have a good day. People deserve to have a good experience, and then just being willing to learn from your own experience and just kind of like, okay, what did we learn? What can we figure out? What can we improve? What can we own? What needs to be fixed? And that's a never-ending piece of work. You know, it's a never-ending piece of work, and that thing excites me. Then now when I see more and more culture owners, right? Like if I think about all the spaces, the Coda, the the Muses. These are culture makers. These are the record labels. These are the owners of the music and the owners of the culture who are developing the spaces for themselves, right? The work that's
seen a gap.
The work that Erosh was doing, you know, with the festival. The work that my homies So have been doing with the festival. The work that Blinky is doing, you know, with the showcase is developing, because the owners of the culture have to be the first owners of kind of that platform, right? And then the brands just, you know, stay the course. What I've just learned is also just kind of like empathy. Who has the career risk to say, I'm riding with this thing, whether it's for 700, whether it's 400, and there's space for everybody. But it really would be great if like there wasn't always a push for the thing to be like bigger and like
better,
who's
yeah.
coming
You
and like,
reckon-
okay, now you guys need to be 20,000, and we're like, why?
Also considering if you start small, then you build with these individuals,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you get to a large scale with them where you're not going to them and
Yeah.
asking to be a part of them
Yeah.
when they've already gotten to a place where they are bigger and better.
You just said something that really just clicked something in my head. You mentioned Blankets and Wine, you mentioned Blinky Bill, you mentioned Sati Soul as the examples, A-Rush. Now there are somebody who's watching right now who's going to be like, oh, those are the only guys that
No.
people give money
No,
and no, let me finish, right? There's someone who's going to be saying that because people will talk anyway, right?
Guys send proposals, man.
Yes. So the question I would ask is, right, what do you think people or up and coming curators need to learn from those who have found success? You get?
Yeah.
As opposed to me just sitting here and saying, Blankets is not only big because these people give money or that person gives money. What are some of the things that people are not doing in order to access those spaces?
Yeah.
Because I always tell people that, like, even before BN was solo and even while South Soul were doing their thing, I said, there's a reason why someone will book South Soul 100 times and book you once is because these guys are easy to deal with. Because their ducks are in a row and they have all of the, you're not going to be saying, where do I get my ETR receipt from? Where do I do this from? Where do I do all of these things? So I think it's also important that as much as people will say that, what are some of the things that you have had to implement in order to sustain and maintain success?
Yeah. So I first think pick a lane and stay in your lane. And don't worry about what other people are doing. You just find your lane and stay in your lane. And so that your thing can really have a problem you're solving. Because good products solve problems. You have to find a unique problem and then solve it uniquely, right? Then
What problem did Blankets
Discovery.
solve? Discovery, okay.
All of us who are kind of like othered by the industry, you know, the Drasta Bands, the Sauti Souls at the beginning,
Yeah.
the Susano Wheels. Can you imagine? They
Yes.
were having like big global success, but like there was
Nobody,
no booking
right.
for them. Nobody was like thinking they were anything.
Right.
And so creating a space for all that music that was othered, and then for all the people who want to have another experience. It's like the club is fun. That's great, but I don't want a club experience. Is there another way for me to consume music? I'm longing to
So
feel
that's two key
something.
things there, straight off the bat.
Right. And I think that then really allowed us distinction right from the beginning. And then we just kind of stayed in it. And, picking a day that was odd when we started on Sunday, pretty much nobody but like, what was that at Carnival? What was at Carnival on Sunday night? Soul Night. Soul Night was at Carnival. So that's it. Nothing else happened on Sunday. And I remember when it started, like I had quite a lot of discouragers. Like, no, you can't do Sunday. Like,
Do Saturday.
You can't do
Monday.
Sunday. And I'm like, it is exactly because I have nothing to do on my Sunday afternoon that I should put this thing on Sunday. I'm solving my problem first, And just kind of building something that's truly authentic to you, and like, don't pretend you're solving, a problem if it's not your innate. If you don't have an innate experience of the problem, it's difficult to build a unique solution. Because usually you solve for yourself or the people like around you.
I love how you said that, entrepreneurship 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solve for
Solving a
yourself.
problem.
Yeah.
Solve your
Solving a
problem.
What problem do you have?
What's your problem?
Yeah.
Or what's a problem that you're really observing that you could see is a direct thing? And
This
then
is
the
how I can
other
fix
thing I
it.
would say to a lot of curators is a lot of curators are not producers. And there's no
Yeah.
shame in that. I see this all the time in the music industry. And also like, you're a financier, you have some money and you like an artist, that does not make you an event producer. Don't do it, right? Like everybody has their lane. Curators really understand how to put programs together. Curators need to work with producers. Producers know how to translate that vision into an Excel sheet and how to get that Excel sheet into like a tent and a toilet. And
Execution.
like, this thing materializes into real life. And a financier knows how to be able to provide money to this thing and like how to be able to track the way this money is doing to be able to know, can I come out on the other side of this thing? It is an ecosystem. And there's kind of this fallacy you can kind of do it all. And because a lot of us who started didn't have, we came into non-ecosystem. So you had to do it all. Really, I had to done everything. But now you're entering into things. We run a music incubator. We train event producers. Some of the event producers that we have trained are then producing some of some really cool things. Robert is producing Complex. And I see that all the time. And I'm like, yes, this is what makes the people at Complex have such a good time. The creative directors and, the curators can just think about the music, and then the event producer can just think about how to make this thing come to life. Yeah. And I think right now, if you're creating something, and it doesn't matter even if it's for 50 people, just understanding where are you best placed in that thing that you're creating, it's going to save you a lot of headache. And
Facts.
Yeah, and we need more things. I really agree with you. Yeah. Not everything needs to be blankets and wine or Soulfest. We don't need... we could have 100 more festivals, but not all problems are solved by the festival, right? And be open to finding the thing that people are missing and do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have a question from the last blankets that Kina JB, Kina Thames blessed us and graced us, right? In between the main stage, right? The segues in between the performances, when you have... this band is coming maybe to prep for the next and all that. Yeah. So as opposed to having a playlist, right? Which was, I don't know, because I really wanted to hear what you guys were doing, what you had in mind with regards to production. Even that playlist, maybe there was someone behind that particular playlist that was playing in the interludes.
Ended up having some Spotify ads and people are
mad.
Yeah.
Tulishika moto manze, tulishika moto mbaya sana. And then, bro, and then it's like a 1 hour interlude, bro.
I'm so glad that happened.
So why not just have a DJ over there? I get the onja stage. This is something different, something unique.
Get Andy to play.
Let me tell you.
Yo, I'm willing. Nina volunteer kucheza manzi nieke kwa
But
bill.
Do you know what? I'm glad that happened with the Spotify adverts. This goes to show you when you're doing an event, bro. When you're doing an event, and you think you have everything covered. There's
always something.
There's one thing that you forgot. There's just that one thing.
Matter of fact, I'm sure she's dealt with a whole lot of some things, and it's a conversation I think we can have another time of the disasters that have happened behind the stage that guys are not aware of, and the disasters that could have been that you prevented.
And never happened.
Yes.
Also, wait, to be fair, I think during those interludes, a lot of people now got to discover Onja properly as well.
Right.
Which kind of played to
I suppose.
Let me tell you, without mentioning the event or the organizer, I was talking about backstage disasters. I have been in an event where I've DJ'd or I've been somehow connected, and I've gone backstage and I've just seen the organizer
losing.
He's gone. He's gone. You look at his eyes.
He's not with us.
He's not with us. Yo.
You can't even ask how do I help you?
I can tell you.
And he's the organizer of the event.
There's an event where I just had to hug somebody.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's going to be okay. Guys don't know. I'm seeing guys.
Yeah, so talk to us about that, man.
Old.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You have some real moments there. So first and foremost, when the festival is running smoothly, you shouldn't even notice the changeover. Changeovers are literally changeovers.
Yeah.
They're 15 to 20 minutes changeover. So you shouldn't notice them. It should just be kind of like a bunch of ads. There's a few songs and then ta-da.
Back to
Oh, so that's what happened.
That's literally what's meant to happen. And then also, there's a lot of live music. I'm going to get so technical on you, so let me just try and figure out how to do this. There's a lot of live music that's playing. And so what you really want to do is you want to give people an actual audio break. You have 14 hours of music that's programmed. It's a lot of music. It's a lot of music. And so you really want to create moments of breathing in between.
It's called contrast.
Yeah, and to be honest, and bro, I've really toured in all the big festivals, there's no music between changeovers. There's
It's almost
literally
like
none.
go to the bathroom.
Away.
Go to the
So it's intentional.
Go to other stages.
Okay.
Go away.
it's designed to reset.
Rest,
Yeah,
reset
your
yeah.
Hapana, mimi nimekuja kupiga sherehe, nitapumzika nikifika mtaani.
It's a very unique Kenyan thing, right? Because then it's also like, but you see it. Kenyans, we don't deal with silence very well, right?
Not
Even
well.
in weddings, it's like the guys are taking a vow.
Tumekuja sherehe.
Now let us clap. Why are we clapping?
Tumekuja bash.
Relax. It's just like you can have even in funerals. We don't we don't hold silence. We don't deal with silence very well. Having said that, I do recognize that, and especially when you are then now having a delay for whatever number of mentionable and unmentionable
Minutes.
situation, right? That then build a proper contingency for the music. But even when you build a contingency, you have to be thoughtful, right? So what am I trying to do? I'm just trying to transition you between this thing and this thing.
Okay.
Or am I trying to kill like time? Right? So we have to build a contingency that will solve for both of those things. But when we run well, it should just be like, there were just some 2 songs and then ta-dang,
Next artist.
Right? You should never feel kind of those stretches of time, right? And which is probably why it's like after the song's played, it's like, damn, now.
I love
Manze hapo tulichekika gap manze.
Now we're going to
I understand. It's almost intentional.
It is. Not it's almost. It is.
No, that was intentional.
First and foremost, it's like everything at Blankets is intentional.
intentional.
There is intentional. But you are right, Jimani. There are some things that will catch you by surprise. And in fact, it will catch you by surprise, like, yo, so what happened with, the contingency? Or is the music over? Or is
What's happening?
Who's made the decision? Who's done the thing? And then there's some places where like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Cut that. Okay, so now next time, just kind of solve that.
Yeah.
It's
That
not
did
something to
Yes.
It's not
linger on,
something to die about, but you can have empathy for the person who is like, actually, I'm roasting you because of the ad, but the real thing is like. Program needs to stay on time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? That's the real thing. That's what I mean again about looking for the insight in the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a roast. So what are you really saying?
In between the lines.
Yeah, if you would be here if the program was running on time or relatively on time, right? Because again,
Pretty much.
no perfection, right? Things happen like.
Always something will always happen. Always
the
happen.
band is on stage. Everybody's ready. The half-live machine, it fell.
Yeah. I can't do anything about that.
Done. Like
Yo,
literally.
right. I'm now that we've spoken about what happened, me I want to know
What's
What
happening?
is coming?
What's coming?
Na kutakuwa na DJ hapo kwa hiyo stage.
Something is on the road to Kasarani. What should I expect? Nakuja,
yeah.
do I carry a power bank? Do I buy
An umbrella.
Do I buy Starlink? Do I come
Kuja na modem yangu.
Oh
You get what I mean?
God. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Naweza
Yeah.
kuja na Starlink.
Yeah.
Ni provide.
Wallahi. Asante sana. But
Thank you very much for that question.
And for real though, thank you for that
Because
question.
guys want to know.
That's a really good question, and I think also for us, we really on board that with a lot of love because people want to know.
Yeah.
That means they're already interested in you.
Yeah.
You know? And so the first thing is to just know people have been. The production didn't end. This was actually one of those weird ones where usually the pin would drop and then it starts again. So this one just didn't end. We just transitioned straight because some of those things really had to be solved, right? Like you have to escalate at the network at a high enough level for the thing to be transformed. And now the thing is transformed, right? So like Safaricom is on ground. They've brought like much more network boosting. There's an actual network booster that exists at Kasarani that they're going to like be reviving or like fixing. There was some language to think about, right? Precisely, right? But that kind of effort to find the right knobs to turn to be able to get that to happen, that's like one thing.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, so let's reconfigure this whole bar operation. How does this whole thing work? And then, okay, build its own, like each bar has its own network. All right, so then you get JTL fiber to come in and like put literally network at each bar. That's a whole other thing. Okay, bring in some architects. The land we have is the land we have.
Yeah.
Maybe it's another way that we can think about the land so that like, how do we do like crowd control or like, not even crowd control, but like just the ease of movement. For people. So then, okay, now work with architects and like think the way they think or like see the world the way they think and kind of get over your own internal bias and kind of like, oh, this is a more smoother way. Okay, got that. So that's in play. There's, you know, a new floor plan and like thinking about stuff that we've never done and also hasn't been done here. And so like, okay, think about how that's going to happen. That's just like new builds on your Excel sheet. But like, it's the cost of getting, it's the cost
Get
of
it
getting,
right.
it's the cost of getting it right? And getting good. And then like setting yourself up for a successful 2026.
Yeah.
So you should really expect an improved experience. Some of it is also having tough conversation with your partners, right? Like, who dropped the water ball?
Yeah, I was about to ask you.
Who dropped the water
I
ball?
was about to ask you whether you've spoken to the rainmaker.
No, the rainmaker, we got it. The rainmaker, we got it. Blankets and the rainmaker, we're usually like...
always, by the way.
Yeah, like,
You know,
I don't think
we're
I've ever gone to a blanket and it's...
Yeah. I think it's
Tungeni musijinx. Tungeni musijinx.
Yo, the
Tafika pale
rainmaker
weekend mutashangaa.
can ask you for, you can go see the rainmaker, he tells you, bring me Ruto's white shirt.
Oh my God.
In Uganda, they believe in those rainmaker stories.
It's a serious
You have an event, you have to go see the rainmaker in Uganda.
Yeah, in Uganda.
You
And
must.
does it actually work?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
I don't know if it works, but
far.
it's working. I've
But
seen it not work.
Yeah, success rate.
yo, no
Okay.
event in UG
Yeah.
at scale.
I know.
You have to consult the
Yeah, you
rainmaker.
have to,
Really?
yeah.
Make it like
So, like, you have to have some tough conversations
Yeah.
with partners about fulfilling their obligations, you know, and then ensuring that obligation is fulfilled, and like just kind of like, you know, where the being respectful, but being respectful with each other, but also like just being like really firm and everybody understanding that everybody wants to win. So then you are on the same side and like don't trip about that. Soft life, this fundamentally changed, you know, because this thing began as a thing for the homies, and now it's like it's on an
big.
elevation. It's like a whole big thing. It's like. It's proper. It's like bar service. It's like its own food vendor. It's like fundamentally flipped. For real, if you haven't bought tickets, really buy the.
Oops, sorry, I don't know what's going on there.
Buy the.
This is that guy in class, man. Usually a lot of ADHD on this side, bro. Yeah.
So guys should expect like a whole lot more.
Yeah, so like with soft life, it's a whole lot more. So the experience is elevated, but we've also had to build a pathway so that you can have that front of stage access. So you can come down and watch the thing, but you can also be in your elevation and be like, ooh, I'm enjoying. You know what I mean? And then it's a limited number of people, because once you build an elevation, then you're really thinking about like
Safety,
right?
Yeah.
So now you're in, it's a different ball game, right? So then is the thing structurally sound? Okay, then you have to work with, you know, electric engineers, right? So, you know, we've been working with this electrical engineer firm because it's like, okay, we need a power grid that can actually solve this thing for real, and like somebody who can speak to the supplier in the language of the festival, and so like a point of knowledge that's not the supplier, because I know, you know these things. Technically, the supplier is your point of knowledge, right? Me, I'm not an electrical engineer.
You have no idea.
You need someone who knows.
You need somebody who's going to check the guy and be like, actually, no, this is the way you want to do. And then you have to actually put that thing into place. And then you're doing the things. And so for this edition, for the first time, we'll be running a dry run with the audience on Friday.
Okay.
Nice.
Which is anxiety.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Anxiety. Because, you know, when you're producing, it's also like when you're making a record.
Yeah. You don't know.
It's all yours.
Until you put it out.
And even when you put it out, you're always like, people see how the sausage is made.
Literally in the kitchen.
The vulnerability.
So people are coming in for the dry run.
Yeah, so we're getting some people. Yeah, we pitched people. We sent an email. We say, hi, do you want to come in?
See, like how on radio we used to test records.
Yes.
Literally.
Do you like this song? But you know what, right? Listening to all of this, right? And just hearing you articulate it, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Why I say so is because, and even to move away from blankets and wine, right? We've had events where people have complained about quality.
Yeah.
Because you just see guys are like, okay, cool, I've got a bit of money, I can get a certain artist, and they, you know, it's a sham. You get what I mean? Because now with you and the team, and of course other people, like now I'll talk about, say for instance, Sichangi with Ashake.
Yeah.
He borrowed a leaf from you. he had a whole stakeholder thing. So you can see now you're setting the precedence of what an event should be. Not guys doing things by the road.
Yeah.
To be honest, Calvin, that's kind of been our job for 17 years. This is what happens when you're the firstborn.
Trendsetter.
It is.
You're literally the mommy
So
of...
sometimes you really get things right and sometimes you don't get some things right, but you just don't quit. You just keep going.
Hebu nikuulize, do you give free consultation? Like manze nafanya event alafu nimekwama mahali. What do I do?
I don't give advice unless you come looking for it.
You send a rate card.
Never unprovoked. Never give unprovoked advice. Never, right? Only give advice to somebody who seeks it and who's doing and like.
Most people listen to you and don't implement what you say anyway.
Yeah.
So then they go away and they fail and they're like, but I even asked Muthoni.
Exactly, and then you're gonna be mentioned in some mess
Pillow talk.
that has nothing to do with you.
But let
Absolutely
me ask
not.
you, on the flip side, right? Now that you're the director on this side, right? On the other side, having heard a lot of feedback, 17 years, what's the one, well, it doesn't have to be one, right? Which is the greatest misconception by Kenyans about events?
That
Or about blankets?
No,
easy.
Generally.
That it's easy.
Yeah.
No, I think the biggest misconception that people have is that you can do one event and become a millionaire, a billionaire. That's the biggest misconception. I feel, that's for me.
Swimming in money.
Yeah, sorry. It's the money.
You said easy, that it's easy.
Or like also I'll give you an example, right? So then like you're giving, you're talking about it, you're giving this feedback or you're doing, you're saying. And so then the expectation maybe is that, someone is just going to be like, jump in and say something. And you can't jump in and say something. You should actually be wary of people who are jumping in
To say something.
to say something, right? Because you have to evaluate the thing that's being said. You have to consider what is the best way to communicate. You have to sift through what is real and what is not real. Some things are going to catch you by complete surprise. It's not easy. Handling feedback is not an easy task. And there's a thoughtfulness and there's an intention and there's a human being on the other side of feedback. And I think that that's something that, it's also... I think this is something that's really happened with the internet. It's taken away the nuance. Like
of course.
if you go to Safaricom customer care or I don't know, somewhere, when you're talking to a person,
Yeah.
I don't know, it changes the way you behave and the way you're talking to a person. When you're reasoning with a person, there's an interaction. There's a
human interaction.
Yeah, and I think the internet kind of just flattens that out and just kind of like...
One person can say something.
Human interaction, one-on-one.
Yeah, I would just say that there's an easiness, and there's an easiness that people.
It's very easy. It's very easy to be cruel.
Yeah,
it's very easy to be cruel.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of like satisfying in the short term to be cruel, and especially kind of like if it situates you in the conversation, and then it kind of piles up. But then
part of
also
something.
because then maybe you feel that you haven't been heard or they're not responding to you the way they want, so you're seeking power.
Yeah,
right. In that moment, you're seeking
some sort of validation.
Some validation. In reality, what you really want is resolution. Right? In reality, that's what you really want is resolution.
and resolution.
That's the
is not
empathy
done.
now.
The way,
So then we have to have the empathy for the thing you're really seeking is this resolution. Inside all this your chaos, what you're really seeking is resolution. And what is the best way to give you the resolution?
Right.
Sometimes it's to tell you, an upfront sorry. Sometimes it's to think about what's the thing that I can solve here. What can I actually commit to? And then commit to that. Sometimes it's just to show you the sorry because it's like...
I'd rather show you than tell you.
Sometimes that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's again why I'm saying that there's no one direct answer, right? Calvin's like, I disagree.
No, because I'm unpacking, right? And I'm thinking at times people just, and this is not you, right?
Yeah.
At times people just want to hear you say, we were wrong.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah. That's all.
Valid.
Disarms them.
Or we could have done better.
Yeah. You get what I mean? So, yeah.
And
But,
that too.
but as you've said,
And that too.
yeah, but as you've said,
And that too.
it's a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
At hand. A lot of people, different walks of life, and this and that. Because you could be saying there could be someone who's saved to come experience a favorite artist.
Absolutely. Yes.
And then they experienced it wrong, and they're just like never.
Yeah.
You get? So you can imagine the pain of that guy as compared to someone who's this was just
Happened,
in the afternoon. Oh, you have an extra ticket, 20.
Say less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The ones I hate are the ones who don't go and then say, see, I told you, this is why I don't go to events.
Yeah.
Them ones, I want to find every one of them, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do what? Block them.
And just fuck them. I feel obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion and everyone feels the pain in their own particular way. And this is not me like being, I don't expect that there should be no comeback or no comments because that's not fair either. But I do believe that if you are going to have a perspective on a particular thing, maybe experience that thing. And maybe experience that thing in its good times and its bad times.
Yeah.
It's like supporting Arsenal, isn't it? Like
It is.
your good times and your bad times.
It really is. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
I really thought about that.
Arsenal.
No.
Oh, okay.
But indeed, because I'm not Blinky Bill, right? I'm also Blinky.
No, Mia.
You're sure? It's like, I'm sure.
This is the season.
I'm sure. And then truly it is the season. And it's like, I told you.
But you think about
you lot are all
experiencing
Arsenal
things, right?
supporters.
Literally.
That's unfortunate.
I thought about that a lot, about like how sometimes we're so quick to rubbish a thing on a one-off thing.
Yeah.
And I wondered, because like with football, there's a lot of loyalty, right? You stay with your team, right? And then I remembered the Beckham documentary, and he talked about like he had carried the team and he had given for years and years and years, and then he misses the goal at the World Cup, and he's walking down the street and people literally spit on him.
Yeah.
And I really thought often about that, about kind of the fickleness and that unkindness that happens when you feel that you are robbed of your moment.
And you know,
and
I'll
then
give
you're
you an
just
example.
like, okay.
Yeah. I'll give you an example, and you've hit the nail on the head. And we go back to Arsenal. It's like think about Arsenal recently with the Visit Rwanda campaign, right? So there's been a lot of pushback from the fans about Visit Rwanda because a lot of the fans are saying, in Rwanda they've been in the Congo, people have lost their lives. And you know what? Arsenal has listened and said we are not renewing our contract with
Visit Rwanda.
Visit Rwanda, right? That says to me that we made a decision that you were uncomfortable with, and after the consultation, we have decided that we're not going to renew or extend our thing. So that shows that your voice also matters.
Absolutely.
Your voice also matters as well. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm not saying that people just don't say anything.
Always say.
But I'm saying if you support something and if you own, it's like, I know the guy who does the One Music Festival in Atlanta every year. And this guy he's the only guy who could bring back Outkast and all these people to perform. And he does one festival a year, a guy called Jay Carter, right? One festival a year. And trust me, it's got to the festival has become so big that he now is probably a minority stakeholder in the event because the Live Nations and the this and that and that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, let me tell you, the minute those One Nation tickets go on sale, because Atlanta believes in that event. This event is ours. This event is in the center of our city. It's ours. And it's like I always tell people the analogy is, it's like the drunk uncle. He's our drunk uncle. But you can't say nothing about him. He's ours. So I feel like we all need to it doesn't necessarily, not just Blanket on Wine, not just Soulfest, not just the Harambe Stars, not just anything that makes us proud. Let's be a bit more protective of the things that we actually love. It's like when you go to Jamaica and go out and rubbish Sumfest. And it's like, I can go and say, hey, some festivals, but then let somebody from another country be like, hey, that's ours. So I think we need to celebrate ours and protect ours a bit more, and have a bit more. You've used the word empathy so many times this afternoon.
Yeah, that stuck out.
Just this is ours. And there are some days your kids make you proud. There are some days your kids annoy the hell out of you, but they're still ours.
Totally unrelated. What do you study in uni?
International relations.
Oh, fantastic.
Alumnus wa USIU. Ulikuwa USIU, si ndio?
Yo, we need a brief. I was like,
a lot of USIU material in front of you. A lot of USIU material.
Guys, before you guys think this is an advert for Blankets and Wine, it's just been a very organic conversation. We had a whole list of stuff to talk about.
yeah.
On but we don't the camera. Like, pan the camera.
And our one fan over there.
Because someone's going to be saying, she
That's
only
enough.
came here.
Wait, Tosha, Byron, you may Tosha. That's enough.
Yes.
They've seen enough.
Yeah, so there was a whole list of stuff. But the conversation has been so real and so organic. It's just taken over everything. And I really appreciate you for coming through, Muthoni. It's always good to catch up with you.
Yeah,
thank
man.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. You've always touched base with
Aniko,
me.
who's in the building, shout out to Aniko, who's in the building. Aniko says that if I speak to her nicely, I can enjoy soft life this weekend.
Oh, nice. Hey, Nico. Hey.
Be nice, be
What's
nice,
up,
be
boo?
nice.
Until you're closer to me.
Wink, wink.
No, I'm just putting her on the spot, man. But you know what? I want to celebrate Aniko as well because I feel sometimes people don't really understand the amount of work that she puts into, and she gives of herself so selflessly. So, round of applause for Aniko in the
The real
background.
PR.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Alrighty. On that note, just to let people know, Blankets and Wine Come We Dance edition, yes, is happening this Sunday on the 21st of December. It's going to be at Kasarani, how do you
Lorette
say it?
Gardens.
Lorette Gardens.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yes,
you get
sir.
your tickets, go to the website, go to the page on Instagram. There are going to be a bunch of great artists from Scorpion Kings. Matata performing on the main stage, so that's really, really great. Onja, I'm really ready for the B3B.
That's gonna be fire.
Find the money there with Doneo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where the party
it will
are.
be a bash.
That's of my Doneo dub plate. You know, shout
I
out to
love it.
Doneo.
So a bunch of great artists. Go check them out.
And big up to Doneo. You know something I love about Doneo? Because you introduced me to Doneo, like the whole UK scene. I wasn't familiar with Doneo until you introduced us to Doneo. Something amazing that he does is he put out on his social media, like, any DJ or producer who wants my records and all of that, drop your email in the comment section and I'll be putting you in the email listing whenever he's dropping anything. He's an amazing producer as well.
And he's a nice person.
So on a regular basis, I usually get emails and I'm like, wow, I love this because as a DJ and as someone who's on radio, it's usually not the easiest thing to get music directly from the source.
Let me give you Doneo. And
big up Doneo.
To show you how deep this guy is in the game, Doneo did a dub plate for the first show that ever went out on One Extra.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it was a song called Bounce, Bounce, Bounce with it.
Come on.
That was like a massive song for him back in the one. That was his breakthrough song.
Right.
And I remember when One Extra went on air, Doneo's dub plate was one of the first songs that was ever played on that station.
Doneo.
You know what I
We
mean?
really have a taste of every single place. UK, Tanzania,
and by the way,
I love
and
it.
let me tell you guys, you see Funky House?
Yeah.
Doneo has bangers.
Yeah.
It's your
I'm
birthday.
an
how?
African woman.
It's your birthday, bitch.
Yeah. Hey, I can't wait.
It's gonna be good.
Yes.
The set is gonna be fun.
So before we go, also if you love live music, you're gonna eat good this weekend. Because there's Soul Fest, there's Blankets, there's Ashake. There's a lot happening, and I just
there's so much.
want to wish everybody the most success in all of their events.
Yes.
May we all win. And maybe we all have a great time and we all have a great December.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Okay, December for real.
Oh, yo, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
in advance.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, the next time we listen up is going to be
And
after.
a happy
Listen.
New Year.
If you guys have better food than my family does, let me know.
This guy.
Yeah.
No.
You're managing your family.
I respect him.
Listen.
His family's food is terrible.
No.
And he knows it.
Yo,
Speak to them directly.
But
We
he
know who
always
you're talking
disses us
to.
for that.
He says it.
Yo,
We know who
so
you're
I got out
talking to.
my uncle. So we're doing Christmas in my uncle's house this year, right?
There's
He
a
was
lot of context.
We don't need to
So,
get a
yeah,
chef.
yeah.
I was like, what?
You panicked, kidogo.
I was like, who are you going to get to cook? Who? You lot? Never.
That's why you're trying to go to someone else's
No,
house.
man, bro. Me, I'm trying to. This Christmas, I cannot miss Chapo, Minji. You know those kind of things. So if you
Mokimo.
guys, I'm taking invites. Because if I go to that
Are you
place
throwing it down?
and they don't have no food,
Okay.
You're just spending grapes and
I'm
potatoes.
out. Clean, I've told you.
I'm
Sour.
No, I'll decide next week.
Your Christmas is that one, you know, like, of
You're
course,
eating.
this is from a point of privilege, nevertheless, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But please, as in, man, you know when I was growing up, my grandma used to make sure that there was like good Christmas food.
The
That's
least
all I
they
want.
will do this
That's
year.
all I want.
Oh.
So get a chef or a caterer.
Yeah,
Might
we
as
need,
well,
we need
actually.
that. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas, guys.
You know what I mean?
We
We'll
out
be
the
here
building.
before the New Year's, but Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Muthoni.
Thank you.
Round of
You're
applause, all the
welcome.
success.
Yeah, man.
The
That was
Blankets and
dope. That
Wine.
was fire.
Boom.
Yeah.
We out the building. My name's G Money.
And the young.
Ashley.
Big C.
And Muthoni Drama Queen.
Good
There
job.
you go.
We out, muchachos.